Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. We are jumping right in today because we're looking at a fascinating concept from our source material that honestly might just explain a feeling you had for a long time, but maybe couldn't quite put into words. It's this idea that feeling totally out of place or going through really intense, unexplained struggles isn't just random bad luck. The text argues that it's actually a sign God is testing your faith and preparing you for a much greater purpose. Our source outlines 7 distinct signs of this divine testing, and we're going to unpack each one to see how this perspective completely flips the script on personal hardship.
So, let me ask you, have you ever felt like you just don't belong? Like no matter where you go, you're always just slightly out of sync with everyone else. A lot of times we internalize that, right? We think, man, something must be wrong with me. But the source material flips this entirely. It frames this deep sense of isolation as a deliberate marker of divine preparation. You don't fit in because you literally weren't meant to. You are being set apart.
Now, before we hit the actual 7 signs, there's a foundational concept introduced in the text wrapped up in the number 777. In this specific spiritual framework, 777 is a number of massive significance. It stands for divine perfection, spiritual awakening, and getting aligned with a higher will. Basically, it acts as a confirmation that the person going through all these trials is finally waking up to their true identity. It kind of sets the stage for the intense and, often painful signs of testing that are about to follow.
Which brings us to sign number 1, the divine initiation, the internal tests of awakening.
This awakening is a massive, life-altering shift. And frankly, it usually feels like everything in your world is just violently falling apart. From a worldly perspective, when relationships end, or careers hit a wall, or old beliefs shatter, it looks like you are losing yourself. But the spiritual view presented in our source argues the exact opposite. It suggests that God is intentionally stripping away the illusions, the distractions, the stuff that just isn't meant for you anymore. It's a really painful reset, sure, but it's totally necessary to reveal your genuine, authentic self.
And this initiation, it triggers a relentless set of internal tests. You start feeling this constant, almost maddening restlessness. While everybody else seems perfectly happy with a normal, routine life, you are craving deep spiritual growth. You suddenly feel like you're carrying this heavy burden of purpose. You know you're meant for something bigger, even if you can't quite see the finish line yet. It's this internal pressure that simply will not let you settle for the mundane.
Moving on to sign number 2, the pain of rejection, or as the text calls it, protection disguised as pain.
People going through this divine preparation almost always report feeling like the permanent outsider, the classic black sheep of their family or friend group. And it hurts, right? The worldly view tells us that if you're rejected, it means you're flawed or weird. But the spiritual view completely reframes this. It treats rejection as a very literal form of divine protection. The text argues that if certain people cannot support your ultimate destiny, they are purposefully removed from your life, often through what feels like painful rejection. So really, rejection is redirection.
The core reason for all this external friction is actually pretty simple, according to the text. Darkness always resists light. The source explains that sometimes people will just react negatively to you, completely unprovoked. It's not about anything you actually said or did to them. It's a spiritual response. The unhealed parts, the darkness within others, can sense the inner light or purpose you carry, and it naturally creates resistance.
That leads us right into sign number 3, a burden of purpose and seeing beyond the surface.
To survive all that rejection, you are given a pretty incredible tool, spiritual discernment. Think of it as a divine inner radar or a built-in lie detector. The text describes it as this heightened awareness that lets you detect hidden truths, spot deception, and feel people's actual intentions, completely bypassing whatever mask they have on. You can literally walk into a room and instantly feel the energy shift, knowing exactly who is genuine and who isn't.
This quote from the source material hits the nail on the head. You do not just see with your eyes, you see with your spirit. Now, having this kind of discernment forces you to question things that the rest of society just blindly accepts. But relying on this inner radar takes a massive amount of faith. It also means you have to fiercely protect your energy, because once you start seeing with your spirit, you become hyper-aware of just how many hidden agendas are swirling around you every single day.
Sign number 4, favor and spiritual warfare, the extreme contrast.
Have you ever felt like every time you take one big step forward, you get violently shoved 2 steps back? Well, according to the text, there is a highly predictable cycle of spiritual warfare for those being tested.
Step 1, boom, a massive divine opportunity or breakthrough occurs. Step 2, almost immediately, sudden, totally unexpected opposition attacks to try and derail you. Step 3, you endure it, and you emerge with an even deeper faith. Stepping into a new level of spiritual connection predictably triggers resistance because, simply put, you become a threat to negative forces.
And I just love how the source contextualizes this with a quote, "God does not put his strongest warriors in easy battles." What a paradigm shift, right? Those intense battles, that constant spiritual warfare right after your biggest wins, they are not signs that you're doing something wrong. They are literal proof of your power. Opposition only bothers to attack people who are actually making significant spiritual progress.
Which brings us to sign number 5, your disruptive spiritual energy, a force that cannot be ignored. Because you endured these battles, you develop this undeniable force that literally alters the atmosphere of a room when you walk in. You become a presence that just cannot be ignored. And this disruptive energy naturally draws two extreme, polar opposite reactions. First, attraction. People with pure hearts naturally seek out your wisdom. Strangers might just open up to you effortlessly because they sense a healing presence. But on the flip side, you have intimidation. People who are hiding the truth or living a lie feel instantly exposed around you. They get defensive, sometimes even hostile, and you haven't even said a word.
Now, because of that intimidation factor, a lot of us have the instinct to shrink down, to play it safe, to be a little less intense. But the source material offers this incredibly empowering directive. Do not dim yourself to make others comfortable. This disruptive energy is framed as a form of divine authority. It's actually meant to shake people out of their comfort zones, so it should be protected and fully embraced, not minimized just to keep the peace.
Sign number 6, embracing your true calling, the unshakable connection.
All of these tests, the trials, the crazy shifts in energy, they all lead up to the culmination of the testing phase. You establish this unyielding, direct relationship with the divine that holds strong even through your deepest feelings of failure or abandonment. This divine bond is unique. It's a direct, personal lifeline, totally separate from just checking the boxes of religious rituals. It's about seeking daily wisdom, not just praying for a quick fix when you're in a jam. And most importantly, it's about finding this inexplicable, hidden strength to keep pushing forward in your absolute darkest moments, relying 100% on that spiritual connection.
So stepping into your ultimate purpose requires walking through a very specific sequence. First, you have to actually acknowledge your awakening and the painful isolation that comes with it. Second, you have to endure the trials, the rejection, the spiritual warfare trying to push you back down. And finally, having survived all of that testing, you are prepared to walk boldly in your divine alignment, totally equipped for exactly what you are meant to do.
And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought from our source material today. Are you ready to step into your calling? If you've been listening to this and resonating with these signs, the isolation, the rejection, that inner restlessness, the challenge here is to stop seeing yourself as a victim of bad luck. Instead, can you look at your struggles as undeniable proof of a divine mission? Can you fully embrace the intense, beautiful path ahead? It's a total game changer for how we view the most difficult seasons of our lives. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you on the next one.